Welcome to Olympian Cares, giving you the best in water testing and analysis. Today we're looking at Olympian Cares for water testing, how water quality testing relates to flooding. So if you've had your basement flooded, if you have flooding in the city, if you have flooding in an area like Manhattan or Queens or somewhere around there in one of your districts, you might want to take a look and see how does your water quality look after a flood and what does the flood actually do. So the ultimate threat to affecting both your physical damage and in your home is the quality of the water that you drink. And we talk about this a lot. It's the most precious resource you have. You cannot live without water, and you use water every day of your life. And the shower is flooding. And due to the extreme weather of the past few years, there's been a lot of torrential downpours, there's been hurricanes, there's been a lot of snow, there's been a lot of things going on. And much of the United States has been subject to the horrors of record floodwaters. Now, why is that so bad? We can clean up after that, right? Run a dehumidifier and everything. But what is the issue with the water quality itself after a flood? We turn on the news day after day and see the plight of different states and people who live in them. Places like Florida were recently hit. Other places really got a lot of flooding and a lot of issues with hurricanes, with extreme weather, and dealing with the fallout from these horrible natural disasters can be tough. But remember, natural disasters as such, there's little you can do to avoid them. If you live in one of those areas, you're likely to be affected when a flood does threaten you. And the first property should be the family's safety, and then the steps should be taken to limit the damage to the house and its contents. So we've seen around different states, they get hit with extreme weather, and there's nothing much you can really do except prepare for it and check your water quality. Why is that? Because, of course, before you even start to wonder about water quality during or after a flood, you need to check with your insurance company. Make sure you have adequate coverage to repair everything, remediate any damage. And it's important to note that proper flood coverage usually requires a special amendment. So keep that in mind. Now, there's some proactive things you can do if there's a flood in your area. Shutting off the main water valve, evacuating the house. Knowing what to do before the flood strikes is just as important as knowing what to do after. And that's why it's no surprise to people that floods and other major storms can contaminate drinking water. It can cause different pollutants to come into your drinking water, as well as ruin furniture and appliances. But if you find yourself stranded after a flood, remember, there may be potable water in the toilet tank or hot water. If you're in a major city area like Manhattan, definitely that's something you can consider. Even though it's not the most desirable option, it is a good way to go to get good water. And if neither has been submerged, flood water has not entered the freezer, you can also get drinkable water from melting ice cubes that have been left. A note of caution, make sure it's safe before you turn on the electricity to go ahead and boil your water. There's other ways to get around the problem of contaminated drinking water. But the best way, especially after a flood, especially after extreme weather conditions, is to have your water properly analyzed and tested.